Hey fam, welcome back to the channel. Today we're taking you right into the middle of the action, the swearing-in ceremony in Dolton. New Mayor Jason House and the incoming trustees stood tall, raised their right hands, and officially took their oaths of office. The crowd? Charged. The atmosphere? Electric. And if you've been tuned into the non-stop chaos in Dolton or the circus inside Thornton Township, you already know this wasn't just politics. This was a show. Here's the headline. Tiffany Henyard, once the unshakable power broker of this entire region, just lost not one, but two major titles. First, voters sent her packing after a single term as Dolton's mayor. Then, in a caucus rewrite that blindsided her, she was stripped of her position as Thornton Township supervisor. Overnight, her empire crumbled. And the aftershocks? They're still rattling the ground across the south suburbs. That's the story we're breaking down. How Tiffany went from untouchable to unemployed, how her grip on power unraveled, and what this leadership shift could mean for Dolton's future. And here's the twist. Her lawsuit to fight it all? Tossed out by a judge. Her response? In classic Tiffany fashion, she fired back. I will be suing everybody tomorrow. This is illegal. This is illegal. In your face. That wasn't parody. That was her, word for word. So if you're watching this thinking, wait, what did she just say? Or maybe you're confused on how we even got here. Don't stress. We got deep dives all over this channel unpacking Tiffany's scandals, controversies, and the wake of dysfunction she left behind. Once you see the full picture, you'll get why Dolton and Thornton finally had enough. The curtain came down. The show ended. Change was overdue. But today isn't only about Tiffany's downfall, it's about a reset. The spotlight is on Jason House and the trustees stepping into power. This wasn't routine swearing in. This was a hard reset for an entire village. And you could feel the shift in the room. I pulled the strongest, rawest moments from those speeches. And when the trustees described working under Tiffany's shadow, it was unfiltered, it was real, and it cut deep. Before we dive in, do me a quick favor. If you're new here, hit that like button so you don't miss the stories that actually matter. And if you've been here rocking with us, smash it too. It pushes the truth out to more people who need to see it. Because this wasn't just another ceremony. This was a political turning point. And you're about to watch it all unfold. Now, if you've been following a whirlwind inside Dolton and Thornton Township, you know it's been chaos. And if this is your first time stepping into the saga, buckle up. This channel is stacked with breakdowns of Tiffany's controversial reign, the scandals that piled up, and the breaking point that forced residents to take their power back. After years of frustration, the people finally drew the line. But today, the day belonged to Jason House. He took the oath as Dolton's new mayor, alongside a fresh slate of trustees. And this didn't feel like formality. This felt like rebirth, a reset for a community that needed one desperately. For many, it symbolized hope, transparency, and accountability. And when those speeches started, the honesty hit heavy. Trustees spoke about dysfunction, about abuse, about what it means to finally breathe outside Henyard's grip. And then came Tiffany's exit. And let's be clear, she didn't slip out quietly. She stormed out with one last defiant performance. Reminding the room she was Dolton's first black female mayor, Tiffany doubled down on her legacy with fire. Y'all know I'm the first, the youngest female mayor. Female, stop following blindly. Educate yourself, she said, painting herself as a victim of verbal attacks, while blasting her critics for keeping up confusion. It wasn't a farewell, it was a fight. In a strange twist, Henyard tried to force a unity moment. She turned to the crowd and said, "Neighbor, I love you, and there's nothing you can do about it." But right after that soft smile came the sharp edge. She accused others of overstepping, blamed them for their own failures, and then fired off a final jab. They asked if I'm going to sing the same song they sang when I lost. I said no. I'm not returning ignorance with ignorance. A jab that wasn't just obvious. It was personal. And that sting? It cut deep. Because everyone in that room remembered the night she mocked trustee Edward Steve after he lost his seat. Steve, battling multiple sclerosis, gave a heartfelt farewell, but instead of letting him walk away with dignity, Henyard grabbed the mic and sang, "Na na hey hey, kiss him goodbye." That cruel, petty moment burned into Dolton's memory and made her new words drip with hypocrisy. It was a full-circle moment, and not in the way she wanted. Then the spotlight shifted. Trustee Brittany Norwood stepped up and delivered an emotional speech that cracked the room wide open. She spoke about campaigning in freezing weather, neighbors showing up with coffee and hand warmers, and how every vote felt like hope in her hands. She admitted her self-doubt, leaning on prayer and her mom before big meetings. Once inspired by Henyard's promises, Norwood now stood as proof of something real. Leadership rooted in service, not ego. Trustee Kiana Elsher's speech came with the same fire. She thanked God and her family for carrying her through storms that left her drained and scarred. She reminded the room she once won in a landslide, 82% of the vote, as Dolton's first female mayor. But then came the raw betrayal. "How dare you backstab me?" she shouted, her voice shaking with anger. Her tone echoed Henyard's, so closely the room was split. Was she defending her or cutting ties for good? Either way, her words showed just how deep the wounds still run. And then came Jason House. His moment couldn't have been more different. No theatrics, no ego, no speeches meant to stir drama. Just quiet resolve, a focus on accountability, service, and listening. And in that calm, the power was undeniable. After years of chaos, Dolton didn't want to show anymore. They wanted real leadership. And with House, residents finally saw the possibility of peace over spectacle. Clerk Allison Kirk tied it all together with her own emotional reflection. She remembered meeting House nearly 20 years ago when he knocked on her door, campaigning against political giant William Shaw. His clarity impressed her so much she wrote a check that very night. And now, decades later, that same man stood as mayor. Kirk admitted the last few years drained her, but her faith and the community's resilience made this moment feel like more than a win. It felt like redemption. When the oath came, it sealed everything. In a split-screen memory, Jason House's 2021 swearing-in as trustee played against his 2025 inauguration as mayor. Same setting, same presence. But this time, the stakes were higher. A young family member held the Bible, reminding everyone this wasn't just politics. This was legacy, a story of survival, and of how far the village has come. Jason House's rise isn't just his own. It's a symbol of change. After years of scandal, corruption, and viral drama, the people of Dolton chose something different. Leaders who listen, leaders who serve, leaders who deliver. The storm isn't gone, but the direction has shifted. And that shift is historic. Now the question becomes, what's next? The work starts now, and Dolton's story is still being written. So drop your thoughts in the comments. What do you want to see from Jason House's leadership? And if you believe this turning point matters, hit that like button, subscribe, and stay locked in. Because this isn't the end. It's only the beginning.